Oh, freeze. You laugh, baby. I love it.
Yo, yo, yo. Say hola, 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 hola. What's up, baby? We in the building. Rise of motherfucking freeze. We in the building.
Hold on, let me.
There you go.
All right. Can you
That's,
see me?
yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect. It's
My
perfect, man.
screen looks blurry and shit.
Yeah, I don't
My
know.
screen.
You still got an Android?
Huh?
You still got an Android?
Yeah, it's the S9, S10.
Yeah, yeah. That
I'm
quality
due for
still.
an upgrade though. They actually, I'm due for an upgrade. So I was looking at the iPhone anyway.
You gotta come over to the team. You gotta come over to the team.
Well, any phone I get, I'm getting it just because of the camera, because I do a lot of videos and stuff. So
Absolutely. So that's the
it's
main reason
either
why.
going to be the iPhone 11 or the Google Pixel
The four, I think.
4.
Yeah, yeah. I heard the four is really good.
So,
But yeah,
um,
no, I appreciate you locking in with me. I had my show Rise with Freeze, but since we're in COVID, I don't want nobody in that close to me for real, so I'm doing live with Freeze. Um, so definitely, I'm definitely prepared for this one. I wrote down some questions, did a little bit of research and stuff like that. So I'm ready, man. So
all right.
for
Hold
anybody
on,
who,
let me get a drink. Hold on,
yeah,
let me get a drink.
mm-hmm.
It's
So definitely,
non-alcoholic because I have to. It's non-alcoholic because I'm going to work out later. So
yeah, yeah. No, I got the craft soda. You know what I'm saying? Vanilla cream craft. You dig?
I got ginger beer.
Ginger beer. Right. So, so anybody who doesn't know or just isn't hip to you yet, like what's like your background story? Just like just a brief background about you.
I'm an artist living in Baltimore for August. Will be 11 years. I've been in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
Born in South Carolina, raised in New Jersey. Moved around a bunch, and then moved to Baltimore. And I've been here ever since. So I'm a actor, writer. I do improv, sketch, comedy.
Mm-hmm.
We were performing weekly until the pandemic hit.
Right.
So we're not performing weekly right now. But
Right.
I also have a day job, so
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm
Hustling.
not like I'm not a starving artist. So um,
Yeah. The wall. What's up,
I
baby?
have I have a day job that pays my rent and my health insurance and all that shit.
Hey
So
man, so you need.
until I can get paid as a full-time artist.
Yeah, absolutely. So can you talk about just like where did you kind of grow up? Most in Jersey, or you got more experience in South Carolina, or mainly Jersey?
I was mostly in New Jersey. So me and my older brother Ron, we were like in New Jersey until we both graduated high school.
Yeah,
And then my parents moved to South Carolina after they moved back to South Carolina because they're from there
yeah.
after I graduated high school. And then I was down there for like a year and a half, 2 years, and then I left.
Okay.
Um, I like left. I went to California.
Oh, what?
Um, but yeah, I left when I was 21, and then I dipped.
Mm. So
And
what
then
what
I
part
haven't lived in South Carolina.
what part of Jersey was y'all in? Like Patterson, East Orange, North?
No, we were in Ocean County on the shore.
Oh, okay. So you said the beach a
So
lot.
like yeah, it was like on the beach. Yeah, it was like mostly white on the beach. Like we actually had like a beach volleyball team for our high school, a
Fire.
surfing team for our high school. It was like a beach high school. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's fire. That's fire.
So
So I guess going down to South Carolina, that wasn't really your thing. You wasn't really that wasn't really your move.
nah, I didn't grow up down because I didn't grow up down there. Like my younger brother is 7 years younger than me. So when I graduated high school, he was like in fifth grade. So he like grew up down there,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like it was different for me. So like I don't have the same connection as he does. South Carolina. I like it now. I used to hate going down there because we used to go down there every summer when I was younger.
Yeah.
Like the
That was
day
like the
after the
90s.
last day, the
That
day
was,
after the last day of school, my mom would drive us to South Carolina and we would stay for like 8 weeks, and then she'd pick us up like 2 weeks before school started in New Jersey.
yeah. Okay. What I guess what made you want to come to Baltimore?
I lived in DC for a year and a half and I hated it. And then I had applied for a job in Baltimore and got it. And then the plan wasn't actually to stay in Baltimore. The plan was to go to New York or Chicago or LA
Yeah.
because I'm an artist, an actor. So the plan was like to stay for a little bit and then move. But then I started making friends here, started performing here. And then I like weighed the options, and like to be an artist in Baltimore is like really good. The cost of living is lower here. I'm on stage every week here when we're not in the middle of a pandemic. I'm on stage every week, and I feel like I moved to New York or LA, like I'd be fighting for stage time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And like here, like I'm literally, if I wanted to, I could be on stage every night in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Whereas if you go to New York and you do improv, it's like you fighting for like a 15-minute slot like once a month.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So, and it's close enough, like Baltimore is close enough where I can go back to New Jersey to see my grandmother. I can go up to New York. It's like a 2 hour and 40-minute bus ride to New York. So it's not like I can't go back to New York and like, which I do anyways. I go up there to perform and stuff anyway.
And you've done performances in Chicago. You've done some stuff down south, correct?
We haven't gone down south yet to perform. I've done a lot of stuff in Chicago, New York, Canada. I performed like 5 times in Canada. So Toronto, Calgary, Canada. And before the coronavirus hit, we were trying to plan a trip to Vancouver, Canada, and Alaska, but that got put on hold. So, and then our next goal, like my goal for 2021, is to actually get some performances booked in Europe.
Oh, wow, that's dope. I see. So which I guess like you said, man, Canada, you possibly going to Alaska, Chicago, New York. Which experience you think was probably the most memorable? It's probably Canada, right? Because it's another.
They're all memorable. Canada is nice because it's just like it's like a different country. And it was good, like meeting Black performers in Toronto, for instance, because like being Black in the U.S. is totally different than being Black anywhere else. So like meeting Black Canadians, they like have a different idea of like Black people in relation to white.
Can you go into that some?
Well, it's just like the Black American experience is totally different. So like we're all descendants of slaves. So our culture is just different in the United States if you're Black and born in the US and a descendant of like slaves in the US. Now, if you're a Black immigrant who's like living in the US now, like from the continent of Africa, like your experience of Blackness is totally different.
Yeah.
You have like a global idea of Blackness. Whereas like we went to Canada, and for those who don't know, like when we went to Toronto has like a huge population of like Caribbean people.
Absolutely.
Like they have like I think the second largest carnival in the world, carnival parade, like after Brazil. So like they have a huge like West Indian population, Jamaican population, people from Trinidad and Tobago, lots of Nigerians. So their idea of Blackness in Canada is totally different because Canada didn't have slavery. Canada didn't have like segregation in the way that the U.S. had it.
Yeah.
So it's just different to be Black in Canada.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still Black people. So like at the end of the day, like Black for me, and I know some people would disagree to that. Like Black is Black to me, but like I know that some people try to compartmentalize and be like, well, no, your Black is not my version of Black. I'm like, well, the world still treats you like a Black person, no matter where you're from.
Yeah.
So
what made you? What made you? I guess Did you choose improv and over acting, or did you kind of just take the opportunity that was placed at your face?
Well, no, acting. I wanted to be a dramatic actor, and I still do scripted theater.
Okay.
But improv is like a different muscle for acting. So I still, if you're just do improv, you're still an actor. It's just you just do comedic acting.
Yeah.
But like improv is made up on the spot. So it's not like stand up where you like write the jokes and then do like 30 minutes. And
Yeah.
it's not like sketch where it's like loosely written and then you fill it in. It's like totally made up on the spot.
Okay. Okay.
So it's just a different set of muscles
Mhm.
to use. But I still consider myself an actor who does improv.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I dig that. So, do you have any, like, when you were younger and you were, building up the passion? Did you have any people that you kind of looked to, or had any favorites, or people that you kind of, those posters on your wall for motivation?
Yeah. I really wanted to be like all the Wayans. So like In Living Color was really
Yeah.
like anyone in A Living Color. Like I remember because I grew up in New Jersey in a predominantly white town.
Yeah.
And I remember all the white kids watched Saturday Night Live, and I was like, no, I was watching In Living Color. I was watching Mad TV.
Yeah. Man,
Like I didn't watch Friends. I was watching Living Single. I was
Yeah.
watching Martin.
Yeah.
You know, I was watching Homeboys in Outer Space, Moesha. Like so, all of and I feel like programming back then in like the '90s, it was so much.
Yeah.
Like there was Different World and Moesha, Living Single, Martin. What else?
Cosby Show.
Yeah, the Cosby Show. The Wayans brothers had a show after Living Color. Girlfriends. It was just like so much black entertainment that I liked, and then it went away for a while. And now it's like a resurgence now because you got like Insecure, and you got the show 20s on BET, and then you got Atlanta.
Yeah, Atlanta's great. Atlanta's great.
Yeah.
It just
So you have like there's a resurgence in black programming now.
Yeah, it just seemed like, I guess it's not of course it's not the same. Like it's not like the sitcom shows on like regular TV is really hitting the same as far as like black shows. So it's kind of most of it's premium, like you said, Insecure, or just even I know BT's definitely took a jump in their creative programming. So yeah, I'm slowly seeing it. Definitely. So
yeah.
what do you like? What do you love most about acting? What do you like? What drives you with that?
I like telling stories. So for me, like, I just like telling stories. So like right now, I'm working on a series of sketches that are going to be performed at some point whenever this lockdown is over.
Yeah.
But I like telling stories, like just regular human stories. And if you're acting, you can convey the story in the best way possible. Right. So.
Dope. So let's see, got some questions in here. Jeffrey Lankin said, "Do you think it's more progressive to be black in Canada versus black in America?"
I guess it depends on what you mean by progressive.
Yeah.
I guess the question would be, what do you mean by progressive? Like, when you say progressive, what does that mean? Is that
like, is it insurance? Is it
yeah, like what is progressive to you? Because I think, I don't know. I guess that's a question. I guess for me, I guess I don't know if you're asking if black people. Are you asking if black people are more progressive in Canada versus America? Because I don't know if you can answer that even because we're not monolithic. So, I think Canada, if we're talking about Canada in general, I think Canada itself is progressive, more progressive than the US. But then if you like really focus and zoom in on Canada itself, like, they might be more progressive socially. But also, like, if you're talking about like indigenous people and like what they do on the indigenous reservations and like how they're fighting over oil, like that's not really progressive. And the US does that too to indigenous people. So like they kind of screw over indigenous and Native American people as well. So Canada gets it right in some ways. So like, they have universal health care, universal education. Everyone's insured. they have, you know, lower mortality rates, but they also kind of fuck over the Native Americans. So,
Mm.
so
Yeah.
like they have other issues to work on, and you know they're pretty neutral, and they don't always take a stance on things because they've had a reputation of being kind of neutral when the world is at conflict.
Yeah.
And I firmly believe if you don't take a stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So
Mm. I dig that. I dig that.
yeah, and like being silent is a form of apathy. So I don't think that I think we're progressive in a lot more ways
Hmm.
than Canada. I think they're progressive in a lot of other ways than the
Hmm.
U.S. But I don't necessarily know if that's like black people in general,
Yeah.
um, because again, like black people in Canada are totally different. If you're born and raised as black in Canada, your idea and perspective on blackness is going to be totally different than if you're black, born and raised black in the U.S. And even like let's talk about like born and raised black in the U.S. Like if you're born and raised black in New York,
Yeah.
that's going to be totally different than born and raised black in I don't know Montana
Yeah.
or Miami, you know what I mean, or Arkansas. So, or even my perspective on blackness, like my experience on how to deal with whiteness comes from being raised around a lot of white people.
Yeah.
So like I have a totally different perspective on white supremacy because I'm like, I know how y'all motherfuckers think. I grew up around you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
whereas if you go to like the South, they also have a different perspective on how white people are as well, because they have the Southern white history.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you think that your experience, like you said, your experience growing up around white people when in Jersey, did that kind of shape you how to navigate with white people now? I guess moving a room full of vultures, so to
Oh
speak.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I have a PhD in white people. I know exactly how they think. I know what they'll do before they do it.
Mm, mm,
Because my graduating class from high school was 776 people, and
yeah.
only 11 were black.
Damn.
Yeah. So like I literally from third grade to high school, I grew up around whiteness, and I saw how firsthand how whiteness works. And that's what I'm saying. I have a totally different perspective. Like I literally have a PhD in white fuck shit. So
Yeah.
I know exactly how they are. I know
Mhm.
exactly what they're gonna do before they do it.
Yeah. So in the
And
business,
it all makes sense.
so in the business of theater, the business of arts, and of course acting. So you kind of take that experience and kind of know how to navigate when it comes to the business of what you do, because we hear so many stories in the last few years about the guys in the offices who rip our culture, rape our culture for commercial use, and they exploit it and things like that. And there are all these hero stories about actors or artists or young CEOs who make the change. So do you kind of take those experiences and your PhD in order to navigate when it comes to your business?
Yeah, I think yeah, in terms of navigating the business, yeah, but like also like I'm a black queer artist, so my
Yeah.
art is for black people and queer
Mm-hmm.
people. And if white people and non-queer people get something out of that, then great, but I don't center the white gaze, GAZE. I don't center the white gaze on like my art. My art is for people who look like me.
Okay.
And if others get something out of that, then that's cool. But it's never, I'm never thinking like, well, I hope this is marketable to everyone.
Yeah.
Like my art is a black perspective and black art.
Yeah. I dig that.
So in terms of navigating the business, yeah, I know how white people will act, and I know that they consistently take and take and take
Mm-hmm.
and don't ever give credit. But I think the remedy to that is just to be unapologetically black, because
Yeah.
they can't take unapologetic blackness. They can take something that we've made trendy, but they can't really take our blackness.
Yeah. Yeah. I dig that, because like Miley Cyrus twerking was probably one of the worst things I've seen, and that became this commercial phenomenon of like twerking. They've been doing that in Miami, Freaknik. They've been doing that for almost
Yeah.
40 years ahead of time. So I get it.
Hmm.
So yeah, switch gears. In 2013, I remember when I was like in my like late teens, early 20s, I was going to Pride a lot with my friends, and I remember 2013, I saw you co-host Pride, and
Hmm.
I just wanted to know, definitely how did you land that role, and what networking did you do to land the just to land the hosting gig? Because that's huge.
They saw me and Ty, who's in Casually Dope, my improv troupe.
Mm-hmm.
They saw us at our theater,
Mm.
and one of the performers, his wife, was coordinating Pride. And she asked if me and Ty wanted. She asked if anybody wanted to do it, and then we sent an email, and she met up with us and asked me and Ty to do it. So that's how it happened. Yeah, we did it 2 years in a row. Yeah.
Oh, dope. So was like did you have any like nervous energy? Was it kind of the jitterbugs, butterflies? Have you ever hosted the stage that big?
No, we hadn't, but it was fun. Like it really was. Like it wasn't like we were just being ourselves, which is what made it so easy. Like I didn't have to worry about like trying to be a host. We were just talking to the crowd.
Yeah.
And having fun. It's like we wouldn't have acted any different if we were just in the crowd with everybody else. So I think that's what made it so fun.
Definitely. So definitely as a queer artist, like, do you feel like there's like you box yourself in, or with the title, or is it just kind of like, share alike,
Say that again.
I'll elaborate a little bit, because I think I watch people wear titles, and they're more obsessed with the idea of the title than just who they are in the midst of that category. So I feel that sometimes people over exaggerate, and it's not even specifically being queer. Like I know someone who says, "Oh, I'm a business assistant, or I do virtual business," and they just shove that title in your face, but the actual work catalog, it isn't really there, or it doesn't really show. It's more just about the idea of what they projected they do. So do you feel that? Do you feel sometimes you might get boxed in because of course, you're a queer artist. Do you feel like you may get you feel like you're boxed in?
No, I don't feel like I'm boxed in. I think being Black and being queer as an artist is an advantage. So I don't think that it's who I am, and I'm unapologetic about it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I'm also like very talented, and I can stand alone. And like most of the time I'm performing, like our theater that I perform at is mostly white.
Yeah.
So, and mostly straight people. So it's not like that's gotten us anywhere. We've gotten where we've gotten because we're ourselves.
Right.
So, and we are talented. Like, I guess you could focus on like your labels, but you have to have some sort of talent. You have to be experienced. And you have to be trained to do what I do.
Yeah.
Dope.
So what age were you when you came out, if you don't mind me asking?
I was, I guess, like when I officially told my parents, I was like 21, I think, 20 or 21.
Yeah. Was it like, was it uncomfortable? Like, was it a kind of like a mental process, like a conversation you had to have with yourself before you felt like you wanted to have that conversation with them?
No, it wasn't. It was just something I needed to tell them just so I could like fully be free. But it wasn't like I didn't struggle with it in the way that a lot of people do. Like I feel like I knew at a very early age. I just wasn't ready to talk about it with other people.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like I was struggling with my sexuality itself. It was just I was struggling with the idea of people not being okay with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And is that probably just the hardest part, period?
That was the hard part for me. Everyone's coming out experience is different. So, but my personal experience was, I dealt with the anxiety of people potentially not being accepting of it.
Yeah.
So specifically my family. So that was my issue. It wasn't, I was very clear early on that I was queer.
Yeah. clear, you was queer.
Yeah, I was very clear. I personally was clear at a very early age, probably like 7 or 8.
Yeah. I dig that. And what was your moment where you was like, you know what, fuck what everybody think. It is what it is. Like, was it after you told your parents, or was it maybe a few moments down the line where you realized, okay, you know what, I don't care what nobody say. Like, I'm in my culture. This is who I am. This is how I'm getting down.
No, I just needed to tell them. That was like the final step.
Okay.
And they already had like an idea anyways, but like me verbalizing it was like, okay, now I can fully step into who I am. I had already been kind of doing that because I left home at like 20. So, and then I haven't been back home with them since then. I'm 35 now. So, like, I had already been living my life doing what I wanted to do anyways.
Right.
So, because I hadn't been home, like I literally after high school, I left for a little bit and then went to South Carolina for like a year and a half, and then I left again right after that. So I was kind of already doing what I wanted to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, because I wasn't like at home, like they weren't. What were they going to tell me? I was out of high school.
Yeah.
I was in college, and I wasn't living with them, so there really wasn't much they could say to me.
Yeah.
So,
Do you feel hold on, I think we got a question. SMS says art universal or directed toward a targeted audience. I'm at the what?
my art is art from a black person. So I make art for black people, and if white people and non-black people, if white and non-black people of color enjoy it, then that's great. But my art is for black people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Dope. Dope.
Yeah. So it's not. I mean, I guess it could be universal, but it's for us by us. It's FUBU. So
So I definitely like what you said about, I guess, like just being able to be unapologetically yourself. Free minds in the building. What's up, baby? How do you, what advice can you have for people that try to find themselves and take whatever time they take to find themselves? Because me personally, I struggled with that for like the top half of my 20s until like I found a craft that I can fully invest like a lot of energy and stuff in. But it took me a while to find myself. It took me a while to really be accepting of what I wanted to do without placing my own restrictions on me. So what advice can you give to anyone that's still in that process of trying to figure out who they want to be to themselves and how they want to execute it to the world?
I think just try things. Like some people just throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But like I said, like I'm an artist, but I'm not a starving artist. So I think there's a lot of people who want to act, who want to write, who want to produce,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not doing anything because they're waiting for that to happen. And I'm like of the school of thought, like do something and do something until you can do the thing that you really want to do.
Yep.
Like I have a few people who are like, oh, I'm trying to direct or I'm trying to produce movies, but it's like, well, you're not like working or doing anything though. And like you have to do something until you can do the thing you really want to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe also like not being afraid to like reimagine the vision,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like
Fine tuning.
like some people are like, I wanna be a filmmaker, but they're like, oh, I gotta go to LA to do that. It's like, no, you don't actually have to go to LA to be a filmmaker. You could make iPhone videos right here
Absolutely.
in your zip code.
Yep. Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So what if even if you could, what if the person wasn't an artist? What if they just wanted to figure out who they were in this world? Even if they had no art, they had no experience in art, but they just like because they think that maybe
Hold on, your sound went out a little bit.
Oh, you hear me now?
It's kind of muffled. Yeah.
Oh, that's Momo in the building. What's up, Mo? Can you hear me now?
Kind of muffled. Here, hold on. Let me get my headphones. Hold on.
All right, cool. Take your time and answer some questions. What advice would you give to the younger version of yourself? I've been asking that. Well, what's up, my nigga? Shout out to everybody in the building. This might be one of them classics. This definitely might be one of them classics. You feel me? Make sure y'all follow Odes Momo TLT blog show, business talk every Monday. Shout out to my dogs over there. Shout out Davey J. Davey J was on the live last night. I was with Shorty. Shorty was twerking it out. Like, shout out to Davey J. Who else in here? If you still in here, you know what I mean? Say something. Yeah. Better? All right. So all right, so my man DeWalt asks, what advice would you give to your younger self?
Just don't listen to anybody but your own vision.
Yeah. Yeah.
and your plan for yourself and other people's expectations are not the same. So whatever expectation you have for yourself is the expectation you should go with, and
Mm-hmm.
people will probably not like the expectations you set for yourself, but oh well,
Yeah.
like
Well,
they'll get over it. Like
yeah.
that's been like the best advice that I got. Like just do whatever you want to do, as long as you're not like harming anyone else,
Right.
and as long as you're not being destructive.
Mm-hmm.
Like do whatever you want, and it's also like be financially independent.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So
yeah,
like
that's advice for a lot of youngins. I learned that a few youngins had to learn. Like, we definitely we have so many resources now. We have so many avenues to learn and so much information we can assess ourselves to. We don't
yeah,
have to follow traditions that was before us because they didn't have access to the information. So like
exactly.
I can understand why they would stress college or stress certain things because you know the access wasn't the same. But now it's like it's everywhere, so you can literally be who you want to be and the way you want to be.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. So
So
would you consider like acting in like someone independent movie or web series, and would they have to cut that check?
no, I've done independent things before. A lot of times it's not about the money. It's about like, is this going to like pad my resume? Is this going to be
Right.
beneficial to me?
Right.
Everything can't be about the money. You have to like kind of weigh like, what else can I get out of this if it's not something
Yeah.
like monetary? Like it
Yeah.
might be because you have to build your resume also, and you have
Hmm.
to build experience. Um, and also like you have to build your network of people too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, this one opportunity might not be paid, but if something pops and this person, I had one opportunity where I did something um, unpaid, and then they called me back and they were like, "Hey, you did our previous thing. We finally got a grant from the city. Now
Hmm.
we can pay people. Do you want to get on?" And it's like it's always good to like have a network of people, anyways,
Yeah.
because auditions are good and stuff like that, but a lot of times like people cast their own people
Yeah.
in productions. Like when I put on shows in my theater, I cast like we have how many improvisers? Like 170, I think. But I only cast people at the theater I fuck with in my productions. Like
Mm.
like I'm not I don't some people will cast a show at our theater and they'll email the whole theater and be like, who wants in? I email people directly and like, this is my show.
Hmm.
Like, are you in or out?
Yeah.
So I only cast. A lot of people only cast like I cast who I fuck with. I don't necessarily cast everybody unless I'm looking to cast like outside for a very specific role. So it's important if you want to get on. Sometimes you might not get paid, but like you might expand your network of people,
Hmm.
and then those can be resources. Like they could be a resource for you. You could be a resource for them.
Hmm.
Um, and you never know when like it might be time to create. Like it's always good to like have more people in your network.
Absolutely. So, question: what do you think is probably more effective, networking on social media or networking in person, or is it kind of all
I
the same?
think I think both. I think you have to nurture your relationships. Like I know people at theaters all across the country,
Dope.
internationally. But that's because we've nurtured relationships and we put ourselves out there and we've literally performed so many places. So you have to I mean if you want to especially if you're trying to go outside of your city, you need to be reaching out to other people. And if you want to work in your city, it helps to know who else is working in your city
Yeah, definitely,
because
definitely.
they might be able to plug you into different opportunities too, and you might be able to help them with something.
Hmm. Hmm. Did you
So,
have, do you have this is one of my last questions. Do you have a certain goal or a certain thing to cross off your bucket list that you want to accomplish in the next 5 years?
yeah, I want to write for television.
Dope,
So I want to
dope.
be a TV writer, a paid TV writer
You did.
within the next 5 years.
Mm. Can make it happen. Make it happen.
So yeah, that's my goal. So I've been writing a lot since we've been quarantined. So
Yeah.
um, Yeah, so I've been doing a lot of that. So my goal is to actually expand and get more content written and produced.
Mm.
So,
Dope, dope,
yep.
dope. So, my last question is: in this quarantine period, I know just like you said, you've been writing and creating. Is anything, any life lessons or any personal lessons you probably learned, or anything that you probably just ran across mentally that you can share, just that you learned in this space, or kind of being a little more confined to your home, so to speak?
I think it's been interesting for me because I live alone. So this quarantine has been very interesting for me, but because there's no one to talk to unless I go to work because I'm working still in my office because I'm an essential employee, but no one's there because they have us on alternating schedules. So usually I'm at home alone, and now I'm at work alone. Um, so I think what I've been thinking about, because I'm in a group of 7 people
Yeah.
who perform together. And one of the lessons I had to learn this year was the difference between like group goals and like individual goals, and realizing that the group goals and the individual goals don't always match up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I was looking for the group for a lot of my like artistic development. And the way I look at it now, after we've had some like, there were conversations that were difficult, but they were healing conversations, and now we're back on track. But they were hard conversations that needed to happen so that we could move forward and like still prosper. One of the things I had to realize is that I'm responsible for my own artistic development, and I
Yeah.
might be in that group, but I'm an artist in the group, and the group is not responsible for my development, but I am responsible for the group development because we're all in the group.
Right. Okay. Damn.
So
That's a gem.
yeah, so just learning the difference between like your personal goal, especially, and this is like if you're working with like in a collective or a group of people,
Yeah.
like it's always important to make your personal goals clear so the group can know what that is and like they can work around that.
Yeah. And
Or not work
definitely.
around it if it doesn't work for the group.
Yeah.
But
Definitely,
yeah.
definitely be valued, because being, that experience of working in groups, it can go a lot of different ways. You have people with their own agendas. You got people who are just trying to kind of, ride a wave, but you have people that are trying to contribute and build something. And like you said earlier, being a part of something, or adding to a collective, it can benefit you in the long run. So, it's essentially being patient, but bringing things to the table, because no one could do any of this by themselves. Like, you can't get to $1 billion by yourself, or you can't write a movie by yourself. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
you do your part. You hustle, whether your name is on it or whether you're a name under the company. But definitely, it's putting in the work and hustling. So
Yeah,
I
definitely.
dig that.
So
Now, Rasheed, I really, really
yeah.
appreciate you. I definitely really appreciate you. It's definitely one of my favorites. I've been doing better since I've been writing down questions. So,
Mhm.
all right, but definitely once
Yeah,
this,
it helps to have a script.
yeah, once once it's cool, I definitely want to do an actual ride though. I'm gonna definitely, pick you up in the spaceship, and we're gonna do something special.
Okay, yeah, definitely. That's a
And
bet.
let the people know just the information where they can find you, anything you got coming up after this, or anything they can look forward to, any websites.
You can catch me on Instagram at Sheedypoo. That's SHEEDYPOO. And you can catch me usually there or on Twitter. We're not really performing in person right now due to quarantine. I have some online stuff coming up, but it's not finalized yet. But if you follow me on Instagram, it'll be posted on there once it's all set in stone.
Dope, man. Dope. I appreciate you, man. Keep up the great work, man. Definitely. We're gonna get up as soon as this is over.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, big homie.